Oh, yeah. Hand out.
Was a tear.
You see this handout?
I don't.
You know, what, is it in the, it's not in text, but I,
John, you need one? Not here.
Tech services, can you hear us? Through today.
But I know Kevin told me he'd be here and Carolyn said.
Irrigation house.
One way or the
Hey, John, you're coming through.
Screen sharing capabilities, that pump was working.
It's a little about.
There was everything in there. Constant pressure.
In a way,
But
we
it
got.
was so, that's where a lot of this rust was coming from. And so we cut that. And I mean, that's.
Yes, it was,
They
I got,
plumbed all that up.
lots of motion.
Got that going. Really close to-
Hi, Kevin.
Oh.
The open. It started.
You might like. I'm gonna start. Oh. And then, thank you.
Matt, you should be able to share.
Thank you.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know anything.
You tried.
Are we voting on fees today?
Oh, the one that. Yeah, his grandpa delivered it. What was the name of the truck? It was probably Connor. Yeah, what that's. Can't remember, 150 maybe or something. That was probably, that's the family name, yeah. Stone's not expensive, it's. Yeah.
That's good.
It is 3:30, so let's call the meeting to order, and we do have quorum. Started. With roll call of members, please.
Evelyn,
Yes.
Joe. Carolyn. Bill.
Here.
Carol. Edward. And Kevin.
Handout, I'm told, is not an amendment, so I've not been advised of the agenda. Not hearing any at the moment, so could we have a motion to approve the agenda?
Yeah, I'll move with approve the agenda.
Questions, comments? Call roll, please.
Carol. Here. Yes. That's all right. Kevin,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Evelyn,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
So I'm reading the statement of compliance. I don't know yet if there will be a vote on fees. Also, we have no one joining us by electronic communication. So we can back to that, should it apply at some point in time in the meeting. We'll go on to public comment on non-agenda items. Is there any public comment? As usual, I can't see behind me as to what there's any public. Moving on to item 6, approval of the February 15th, 2023 meeting minutes, pages 1 through 5. I hope you've had a chance to read them.
Motion to approve the minutes of the February 15th, 2023 meeting.
I second it. Moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the February 15th, 2023 meeting. Questions? I have one. I'm waiting to see if anybody else has one.
I do too.
Go right ahead.
Third paragraph on page 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lines down, the fields with take a maintenance hit. It should be will.
Oh. I corrected that automatically. Wow.
Third paragraph down, the 5th,
It's here.
we go over capacity, the fields with take and maintenance.
there we go.
Okay. Yeah.
And I had probably the same you asking Kelly if she had talked to the council. Up on page 5, you indicated that the council members were happy with the particular subsidy level. And that you would talk to them to verify that.
Is this a change you're asking for, or a first they did this?
It just asking a question, did it happen?
Oh, yes, yes.
So that will be included in a report then, as we go through the agenda. Councils, your,
Yes, I sent an email, maybe it didn't go,
I got it.
oh, okay, I can resend
I
it.
didn't get it.
People.
Yes, I'll resend it.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing that. I didn't know.
There were two attachments to one email you sent.
Okay.
Those attachments was what you call it.
Okay, I will just resend it, and yes, answer your question. I did contact them and they did voice their opinion. I didn't tell it anytime.
Well, that was evidently special. Joe got it.
Lots of emails that day.
There was a lot of English.
Very good.
Carolyn, you snuck in on me. What time did you arrive? Just now?
No, I don't know, about 3 minutes ago.
Okay.
On page 3, paragraph, second from the bottom, that starting with Mr. Goss. Asked for, or I asked, based on his comment. For a 1-page draft at this meeting. Is that in here?
Yes.
Okay, I don't recognize it as what we. It's what I was looking for. Okay.
On page 10.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
No, I did notice that you did add the names on the non-reverting stuff.
Yes.
So, we have a motion to approve the minutes.
Yeah, we
did. Okay, that's awesome. I failed to write that down. Are there any other questions or comments? Hearing none. Call the roll, please.
Carol,
Yes.
Kevin,
yes.
Carolyn,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Evelyn,
Yes.
Bill.
Yes,
Motion passes. Page 6. Approval of the February 2023 non-reverting claims. The short list.
We'll make the move to approve the non-reverting claims for February 2023.
thanks.
So,
Bill's closing, I got his name.
moved and seconded to approve the non-reverting claims. So it meets with what you wanted, Carolyn, is there.
Well, it wasn't what I can't remember who actually asked for it to be put, but we asked that they add the vendor names to the description so that we knew who we were paying besides John Deere Financial and Visa.
Right.
And that has been done.
And we think.
Thank you, and hopeful this meets with approvals.
Yes, sir.
Well, I had a question about this item. The last one, Mohawk lifts, is this for a new lift, replacement of a lift or repair of a
The
lift?
repair of our lift, yeah, our lift, the cross members that the tires sit in when we lift all our vehicles up to maintenance, all our motors and that stuff were not in good working condition anymore, so we bought a new kit to pop on the lift and then just gives you tires somewhere to rest.
Okay,
Yeah,
and so this is an anticipated expense?
no, it's already been paid, I believe.
No, I mean, was it this item expected to be repaired or?
Again, I would say it's gonna last for a long time. That other one, I think, is from when they originally bought that lift, and it's been there the entire 16 years I've been here, so.
Any other comments? Call the roll.
Bill,
yeah,
Carol,
Yes.
Kevin,
Yes.
Carolyn,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
and Evelyn.
Yes. Is Edward on your list?
No, but he's not here
Okay. Well, that's true.
that I know of. I didn't think that was last year.
No, you're right.
Okay.
Moving on to item eight, approval of February 2023 credit card charges. On page 7,
Make that motion also that we approve the February 2023 credit card charges or credit card log, I should say.
is there a second? Is that you, Phil?
Yeah. Speak.
Any questions about the charges? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Evelyn,
Yes.
Bill,
It's,
Carol,
yes.
Kevin,
Yes.
Carolyn,
Yes.
and Joe.
Yes.
Thank you. Moving on to old business, pages 8 through 16. Recommendations to Parks Board and memorandum of understanding with Cutters. Is this you, Kelly?
Yes. On page 8, there's a lot of things there. If you want, we can just concentrate on number 1 and number 2. We can deal with the rest at another meeting if the meeting is going on. Because there's a lot of things to talk about on page 8. If you would like to do that, we can just concentrate on the Cutters and talk to you about what we also did with the other user groups that we voted on in 2022. That might help this conversation, unless you want to go through the entire page. Oh, yes.
Well, I had a question or issue with number 9, but.
Oh, well,
you know,
yeah.
you could-
Yeah, oh, yeah, we can talk about each and every one. I didn't know if we should take them one at a time. Let's start with number 1.
We got board and we'll stop you.
Okay. On page 9 is a summary of the athletic fees for Cutters that we proposed. It was in the last meeting we discussed this. And below it, it says December 14th, 2023, it meant to be December 14th, 2022. And then on page 10 is the page that Joe requested. And it talks about the personnel costs and the operating costs, the total cost, the subsidy, the user fees. And we can talk about that page. But what Phil was talking about, not to jump everywhere. This is part of the email, and I'll be quiet. This is part of the email that Joe remembers. And it might answer some questions, so if y'all want to read it, I'll be quiet. John, I did just scan that to you if you want to put it up to the.
I would, but I'm using Matt's computer.
That's okay, and if I look, it's just Stanley, Matt, and Jason up there. Oh, sorry, I should be getting it now.
highlighted portion says, I believe this is the best and maybe the only year to request capital funds from so forth. What year are you referring to?
This year.
Does it say that?
I meant this year,
You're referring to 2023.
2023, that's.
Yeah, it says this year. It's a date at the top, Jim.
Yeah, but it's a 5 year,
Yes,
so
this year. And then in that email, I got responses from Jeff McKim, Cheryl Munson, Kate Wills, Trent Deckard. But I believe, Jeff, if I can, I will just read Jeff McKim's email response because they all agreed that he had a good grasp of the subject. It says, "Hi Kelly, I do remember those discussions around 13 or 14 years ago. I believe it is important, and the context is the subsidy levels for CARSAC levy complex. I do remember those discussions around 13 or 14 years ago. I believe it is important to consider the context at the time. County revenues were stagnant and the county was faced with potential cuts to county services and personnel. At that time, we were all brainstorming, he named all council, commissioners, departments. We're all brainstorming for solutions that didn't involve painful cuts. One of the ideas was an increase in user fees, and in particular, to set a target subsidy level for various park activities, something I know that many parks departments do. But those discussions really never went beyond the discussion stage, and certainly never made it to the point of a specific target or direction from county council. Again, the goal was here to prevent potential layoffs of county personnel and outright elimination of services during this 13 to 14 years ago. Once the immediate and dire revenue concerns faded, I don't believe that discussion was ever revived. Speaking only for myself, this is Mr. McKim. I have no particular desire to see it revived. I believe that the Parks Board currently provides a quality service at a reasonable price that allows broad youth participation in athletic activities, which we certainly want to maintain. Feel free to reach out if you want to further discuss this. And Cheryl and Trent and Kate said similar things, different ways, but they thought Jeff had the best grasp of the conversation. So that's where we're at, because I don't believe the county council has, well, they have not put a percentage on our subsidy level. So that answers that question.
It sounds like they're comfortable with where we are right now.
These four, I chose these four because they've been assigned to our departments, all of them. And they are very well versed in our budgets. So I thought those four would be the first four to contact, and I believe I understand Jeff, and I think Cheryl, especially since she was assigned to us last year, agrees.
that's part of the email you will send to.
I'll send it again.
Thank you.
This is repetitious, but did you provide the council members you spoke to with the actual numbers that staff came up with for the proposed 5-year agreement?
Yes, they actually had. Here it is. They actually were given in these emails and questions, the table that Joe requested about subsidy level, and they were given fees that were proposed, and also the fees that were voted on in December. So they had all the numbers
Okay,
with that
good.
question
Good.
at their fingertips to read.
We have never been asked during budget sessions to, as they've gone through our budgets, to increase fees or any other. Right?
Never. Never during budget sessions, no, never. They've never asked.
There was a lot of pressure that I recall vividly. The era that Jeff is referring to there.
Yeah, they cut back on almost everything by 10% that year.
Because of the experience, yeah.
I don't disagree at all with what Jeff's comments. I think he's exactly right, what he said. Having been on the board at that time, and you were also it's slightly deceiving because he came to the meeting, our meeting, and he's the one that came up with the numbers. It really wasn't us coming up with the numbers. It was him.
Yeah,
I
but
agree.
what he's saying is that the council didn't,
I understand that.
you know,
Understand that. I just want to make a point though, that it wasn't like we all, the board or me didn't go, "Whoop, we need to have this much subsidy." He's the one that started.
Yeah.
Now, I understand the context was the county was hurting. You know, so in light of what at least these four council people say, and I'll assume the rest of them probably to some degree are probably in agreement. You know, it doesn't seem like the county council wants any target subsidy set. You know, I told Phil, we were talking about this the other day, or earlier today. I said, you know, I have mixed feelings on that. I've got a board member, as a board member, the county funds our department, you know, county council. So they're our funding agency, and if they don't seem to have a problem with our level, I shouldn't have. As a taxpayer, I completely disagree with that. I think that we should, because that money the council gives us is taxpayer money. You know, so I have two fears, but I don't have a problem at all with if we can keep this subsidy level somewhere in this range, I don't have a problem with it.
I think Kelly made a good point last month, when you know, if you don't want to price yourselves out of the range of your users. And so but you know, that's, you know, it has a crystal ball, exactly what is that number where you begin to cross that.
But
Um,
you know, not to interrupt you, sorry. You mentioned that you have questions about number 9, and I think we should probably talk about number 9. I will make a quick comment on it on page 8, item 9. I really like this idea, you know,
Which one?
what is number 9.
Oh, okay.
Because what you've done in the past, we kind of prorated all kinds of people as charges against the sports complex.
Correct.
You know, yes, a little bit of your time and yes, a little bit of your time. But if we didn't have a sports complex, we still have your time and your time. So I like the idea of let's figure out what personnel literally do work on that. Now, I mean, that includes mowing the grass. You know, and I'm not sure if this one person list here is the only one I see that might be one doing the mowing. Surely there's more than one.
Yeah,
person.
we got 2 or 3, which I just turned to it now, I'm off of it, yeah. Yep, so Jill and Christian, well, last year was Christian, it'll be Jill and Cole this year doing the mowing on the field.
So just, okay, stay on our list there. I don't want to beat down this because but my point is, this subsidy, if there is any concern with it, would look much better if, in fact, you only charge labor for the ones that are specifically on those fields.
And I included like John and Matt work with scheduling and
I can understand. Matt spends a huge amount of his time. in that.
yes, he does.
You can't take him out of that, but. You know, I think-
I've taken me out and I've taken the office staff out.
Took me out this year.
I
too.
took you out because Stanley's in charge. I mean, no, Stanley's the manager of the athletic complex, not Andy. Answer to Andy.
So my question about number 9 was, under the proposal, and the sentence only include the base salary amount and remove all benefits, bonuses, and taxes. Well, benefits, I mean, so base salary is not the sum total cost of an employee.
Correct.
So-
That, I'm just giving you options. Giving you options.
Well,
That's true.
I wouldn't remove those either. I'm like you. If you're gonna, if this employee is employed because of those fees and all the benefits, taxes, everything else needs to be included. too.
Whatever they cost.
Otherwise, we go.
The cost.
And I have no problem with that.
I think as long as we are not under some directive from the council the commissioners to hold down the subsidy to a certain level, then I think it's somewhat unimportant to spend a lot of time on how we figure out these subsidies. I think it's more important that we try to be consistent year to year as to what we, how we determine the subsidies, so we see the trends. Because I think we're at a certain level we can't change right now. And what I want to know is what direction we're going. Are the subsidies going down? Are they going up? Are they remaining constant? So I'm more concerned with some consistency of reporting than fine tuning it as to whether certain fringe benefits are or are not included. That's just my view.
Well,
And personally, I want to take myself out. I've been here a long time, so I get paid more than everyone else. And I'm not on the fields every day. I'm not doing that. I'm doing a lot of different things. Stanley's on the field, Matt's doing the work. So that's why I think, is it fair to have me on there? That's why I wanted to look at this again.
Well, I do think we should be conservative in this. This is, you could go to great lengths to figure out things you could throw in there as a part of the subsidy, but I think we should be conservative in how we calculate this figure.
I think it meets with general approval that we limit the calculation to those who are actually hands-on involved. But Joan, I think that whatever your employee costs you is what they cost you. And there's no discussion out there, and I'm not hearing any or seeing any anywhere about concerns about the loss of revenue to the county with the annexation suits. It doesn't seem to be out there.
Issue.
Well, eventually it could be. If they.
I mean, it's out there, but it's kind of irrelevant until lawsuits get decided. And there's not much the county can do about it.
Well, no, I'm talking about the general loss of income.
Well, yes, I understand what you're talking about, but until we actually know what's happening.
Okay. Cross that.
Start paying.
Rubicon.
Taxes.
So,
So it looks like we talked about 9. I think we're all comfortable with 9, and we'll make sure we include all of the benefits and the bonuses, et cetera, for these employees A through D
Yeah, I think that makes.
going forward. And then we can be, consistently, this is going forward, and we can make a note. We made.
Yeah, make a note or at
Make a note.
least or redo the numbers in the past. If you're gonna.
And we always get better, sometimes, it's taken a long time to get here. When we first started it, who knows how we calculate, we get better. I tell the staff, we get better every year. So I think number 9, this gets better. I believe that. I don't know, Evelyn, do you want to go through the other ones before we get to 1 and 2, or?
I got my 2 cents.
Oh, okay.
So, other board members need to speak up if there's something they want to address.
I'll say 3, 4, and 5. We talked last meeting about dates in November and this and that. I really thought about it. I believe these are the more reasonable months to do each and every one of these items. And just so we have a schedule, this would be the schedule. Unless someone has a problem with that, So I think you're saying, hey, let's do it before all our numbers come in. I'm like, no, I don't like that. Then we have to revise and do drafts.
And Matt, it works for you if the rental fees for the other user groups don't come through until January, February?
Yeah, as long as I know, so I can communicate it to them ahead of time. If whenever we do it, I'd say, it's gonna go up a little bit, not like a huge percentage. And if it was something where we were in a tough spot and we knew it'd be a little bit larger than usual increase, I'll give them a heads up on that as well.
But it isn't a problem for you to schedule based on when, if those fees don't get set until then.
Yeah, Kelly's timeline works perfect.
So back to the context that Kevin raised, which is consistency.
Yes.
Just looking at these proposals in that context, you don't need time to think about this. You're comfortable that you can stick to this.
Yes. Yes, and we basically have stuck with that. We just went a little early on the other fees. We went in December instead of January. So it should not be a problem. For 3, 4, and 5, it should not be a problem.
Well, we're halfway there. Any
Yes, we
questions about 6, 7, and 8?
I believe the council and commissioners are aware of a Bledsoe Ritter Cooper James report that will be coming out because commissioners actually signed the agreement with Bledsoe Ritter Cooper and James, asking for new numbers for projects for the Parks Athletic Complex. So everyone's very aware of it, and they know we will be giving that to them for their consideration.
Should we not give that to them with the park board's recommendations?
Yeah, as soon as we get that, we'll probably have a meeting and say,
Okay.
here's what we're thinking of, because Cheryl Munson is also on the committee for the food and beverage tax.
Yeah.
And she tells me about every 30 days, can't wait to see it, can't wait to see
Okay.
it. She would like to help us.
But I don't think we should get the work product that we get from Bledsoe to the council members without something from the board.
Oh, yes, I'm,
It's a recommendation or whatever.
park board first.
If others agree with me, I just think it's up to us to establish some priorities based on the information we have, the best information.
I agree.
And then 6 and 7 apply to this year, 8 would apply to future years as well. I mean, 6 and 7 might apply to future years, but we don't know what's happening with food and beverage tax, so
We're not sure. The state law might change.
if it goes away, then obviously that's not going to happen for future years, but 8 obviously would be something that we would continue.
Any other questions or comments about page 8? Hearing none, you want to move on, Kelly?
Yes, actually, you need to back to page 8 real quick, number 1 and number 2. So.
Okay.
So we can either go to number 2, which is actually, what page is that? The park board tax.
Nice.
Right, page 9. These are the fees that you decided in December or on December 14th, 2022. We are recommending that you retain these fees and you wonder, look at these again this month because I don't know if you had, I think you just want to double check that these are the numbers that you want, that you approved in December, that you agree with them again in March.
I think it also came in context of the council's decision and wanted to look at these numbers in association with what the council said about fees.
And they are fair with the cutter's request. You know, it's around a 2% increase. These actually are 2 to 3%. So we want everyone's being charged fairly and at the same rate or same percentage increase.
And are they also consistent with what the city charges for similar types of,
Kind of like apples and oranges on this one.
yeah, this one doesn't really apply.
We've scoured, John has scoured the state of Indiana for what does everyone do? It's a mixed bag. I mean, it's very difficult to compare. But John, you I know done a lot of research.
Yeah, so these fees, we did a benchmark analysis it was during the last cutters agreement, so that's been 2 years ago. But it is kind of all over the place. So some facilities just have fields, some people have fields and lights, some provide paint, some don't. But these prices are consistent with fields that provide paint and provide lights. I didn't go into too much detail during the December conversation, but the $84 an hour in particular for a full field is consistent with what it's costing us to provide a full field as well. So operational costs, paint, and then time to paint and time to mow are all considered there. So we're in a good range as far as what it's costing us to provide the field and also what others are charging.
I don't know what to vote again. Or just a vote of confidence on these fees, then we can go to cutters, or if you don't like these fees, we can talk more.
So pages 11 through
Or page 9, I just say page 9.
contract.
Oh, the contract, we can go with the contract.
Well, I was asking for questions or comments, observations.
You want to act on these fees before we move on to the contract.
Yeah,
I thought
I think that might be best. But if you want to look at the contract,
at the bottom of page 9.
yeah, on page 9, we have all the other user groups that you voted on in December. If you like these fees, we'll just keep them. We don't need another vote unless you would like another vote, just on everyone else except cutters.
I'm happy with them in light of what we found out over the last month.
Okay.
I agree.
Okay, if you want, now we can go to the agreement on page 11. Is Molly here? That's unfortunate. Molly spent a lot of time on this agreement. And she corrected some language, got some definitions in there. And, you know, Lewis can, like on page 11, number 1, the last paragraph, it talks about what is defined as a cutters tournament. Because we want to make sure if cutters have a tournament, it's within this agreement and it is included in their fees. Now, if some group comes in here and they say, hey, we're a cutters tournament, and we're like, well, are you providing insurance? Are you providing a director on site? Did you take registration? Do you have teams other than yourself? If all those are yes, it's a cutters tournament. If any of those are no, you are not a cutters tournament and you owe us field rental fees. Molly thought that would be very good to be very clear about that. The other item probably that is about concessions. The highlighted this. Concessions. First letter who finds concessions.
I remember reading it.
Oh, I know, I read it like mine.
Oh, up on page 12, I think.
12.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, oh, okay. And this is different, Lewis, and if it's a sticking point, you can come back and tell us if this is a sticking point. In the past, our concession vendor, who you all get under contract, has been forbidden to be open at Cars Farm Park during Cutters Tournament. What this is saying is that they are allowed to be open. Say our vendors back at the splash pad and they have a tournament on fields 1, 2, or 3, our vendor still can remain at the splash pad. We are not going to pick up our vendor and put it right in the middle of your tournament. We would not do that. But it just, then our vendor has a chance to sell because they don't have a lot of opportunities to make money. And to close them up, I just think is unfair to them. But that's a difference in the contract. Some cutters may or may not have a problem with that. I don't know. Other than that, basically, we just
Probably worth it to discuss C on page 13, which is refunds. That's also.
Oh, yes, refunds. Molly put this in here because the board requested her to put a whole paragraph in, and she did.
Where are you on page?
Oh,
13?
page 13C.
The refund
At the top.
cancellations.
And it talks how that we will give cutters a listing of makeup dates. They need to work with us with these makeup dates. If for some reason they have no effort to reschedule, we will not entertain a refund. You know, we will be fair. They're fair. I believe this is fair. There's just a little more wording But I think we can live within it, as in, we never had the word COVID in our agreements before, but the board, when COVID hit, the board said, you don't owe fees for the spring. This isn't fair. You know, it's not in the contract, but you all were fair to them. They agreed that was fair, and we did not take payment for the spring of COVID. So I believe this is reasonable.
Just a question, Kelly,
Yes.
on page 12.
Oh,
We were talking about the concessions. Just remind me again, the others, do they share any amount of money back to the county? Or
no,
That's what I'm saying.
no,
Our concessionaire, of course, does.
yes.
Right. Which really makes, I'm just kind of reemphasizing your point. You know,
Well, and it's a big park, so you don't want the kids at the splash park to have to go over to soccer fields in order to get snacks, and it probably would mean that they just wouldn't get snacks. Wouldn't benefit the cutters and the cutters, and it wouldn't benefit our people. So this actually is, I think, a good way to do it, as long as we say, you know, our concessionaire is not going to compete with their concessionaire. It's just a matter of covering the whole park.
You sure don't want the adults leaving the splash pad to go
Right.
get snacks.
no,
And if for some reason Cutters wants our concessionaire over there, we can work together. If they actually say, we love that concessionaire, we want them right in the middle of our tournament, but they're still under contract with us. I mean, we would work together, of course. And we're not here to take their concession money from their, I'm not even sure what concessions you have. Sometimes it's I forgot what the guy, they come in with the big ribs and the smokers. Yeah, those kind of items. I mean, the fun tournament things. And we're fine. I mean, staff's fine with that. We're fine. We think it's fair. The other thing that Molly put in on page 13, yeah, in the middle, now safety of players. This is kind of from our, oh, you do have this, don't you, Louis? Do you have? Okay. Okay. Our insurance provider for the county is always asking for these items, and she just thought this would probably not be a difficult thing for Louis to manage, since he is coming from the background of the youth shelter. I would not be, and it's a good thing to have. Don, I mean, that's I think that, I mean, those are the highlights. Everything else is just kind of cleaning up some language.
This is there any protocol or guideline about certification of coaches? Not only here, but other people bringing teams in.
Well, depending on the situation, if you're talking about certification in terms of safety or in terms of like, because there's obviously licensing, you can be a different license coach, but everybody in Indiana, if you're part of Indiana Youth Soccer, our accrediting body, has to go through state board and Heads Up, which is awareness of child abuse in certain circumstances, as well as concussion awareness. Anytime we have a large event, we also have hired trainers to be present, so they can be there to make sure kids are okay. But everybody who is from our travel program has to have a card. They have to have a coach's card. So which means and to get that card, you have to pass all your stuff. You have background checks, that in those 2 training courses. For our community program, we have all of our trainers have to go through that as well, but there are no licensing requirements because it's for a rec program.
So I think the next step, if you like this agreement and you like the fees, pass this today. Louis then will take it to his board. And they may or may not come back with, hey, we don't like this section, or can we work on this section? It may take us a month, and we may have to, you know, go back and forth a couple times. And hopefully we'll get a document that you're happy with, they're happy with, we could sign it. And also Molly wanted to put the commissioner's name on this document also.
One motion.
Sounds like we need one that we're approving this draft.
I move that we approve this contract, proposed contract with the Cutters for presentation to the Cutters for purposes of reaching a final agreement.
Second.
We've been seconded to forward this contract to the Cutters. Comments now?
Louis, do you have comments about this?
So,
Jump on, I do have to take it to my board, but just about the conversation that was happening here in terms of concession, we're gonna have a cultural concession here anyway. So we can have them out for more rec opportunities. I talked to John about that. We have people on April mornings with like coffee, things like that. So having those conversations, it's worth, so we have absolutely no problem with that. Yeah, so we're really happy with where we are with them. So I want to take this to the board, hear what the board has to say, and we'll continue our conversation.
do you know when you'd be able to have a comment back from the board, or I don't know when you meet next?
Well, my next board meeting is next Wednesday.
Oh,
But I will probably meet with the executive board on Monday prior to that, and we can start moving forward. I think I'll be happy to have something ready to you, in some preliminary fashion, by the first week of April.
Our next board meeting is April 19th, so if we can have your comments, we'll take it to Molly, see if there's any changes, we'll present to you all, and see if we can get this agreement in a month or two.
Thank you. Any other comment? I was asking for additional comments now that Louis has spoken. Not hearing any, seeing any. On the roll, please.
Joe,
Yes.
Evelyn,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Carol,
Yes.
Kevin,
Yes.
and Carolyn.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
You're more than welcome, Louis, to stay for the rest of the meeting. Do I leave? Do I don't leave? They won't be offended one way or the other. You can sit and listen to us talk.
Moving on to new business and the hiring of a financial manager.
I thought we were gonna lock Kay in her office. I did like leaving Kay.
But she scratched her way out today. We I don't know.
Sorry.
I am recommending Jamie Deckard promoted from office manager to financial manager. Jamie has done an outstanding job. We're very proud of her. I don't know what to do without her. And Kay has been training her probably since the day she arrived. And Jamie knows everything about our operations. So I highly recommend that a positive vote from the board for Jamie. And we still don't know her start date yet. We're working at that. It's probably gonna be mid-May sometime. And Kay's last day is May 5th. It's Jamie Deckard.
Is there a motion?
I move that the board approve the hiring of Jamie Deckard in the position of financial manager.
Moved and seconded to hire Jamie Deckard for the position of financial manager. Or maybe it should be offer the job to Jamie Deckard. She might, whatever.
However you want to put it.
Are there any other comments or questions?
I have a question. That mean that she will be here for doing the minutes for our meetings, or will that?
She will be,
Oh, okay.
until she gets the office manager trained,
Okay.
whatever that may be,
Okay.
to help out, so she's not doing every meeting like I did for the first time.
The question is, that wasn't clear, because Jamie did these meetings for a while, but you still.
Yeah.
And I didn't know whether that responsibility goes with the office manager or with the financial manager's position, or is it somewhat interchangeable? Okay.
It's shared, so they don't get run out.
Yes.
I just didn't,
And the office manager is very busy in the summer. So, then they can, which month are you the busiest and least busy? So kind of do that. That's exhausting.
And it's so the financial manager can take a vacation too.
that's a good idea.
In the middle of a month.
I understand is they can only take so much of it.
No, it's not true. But it sounds like, yeah.
Tell you the truth, that's a good way street.
We know where that Andy Street is.
Yes, I did.
Well.
Carolyn,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Evelyn. Yes. Bill,
Yes.
Carol. Yes. And Kevin.
Yes.
Do you have a new office manager in mind yet, or that's something we're gonna advertise?
Right. And they will start somewhere in mid-May also.
So are you talking about the agreement approvals?
Yes,
And
I was gonna just make a blanket statement, but
for what?
going to make a blanket statement about all of the agreements.
Do you want that attachment?
Oh, we're not talking about graders yet. The agreements you'll see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, Signal Construction, Izzy's Rental, Commercial Service, Go Express Travel. I'll talk about each one individually, but just so you know how we're doing it now is that I come to the board, talk about the agreement, what it's for, not to exceed amount, when the expiration date is, but Molly takes care of the contract for the commissioners and it will not go in front of the commissioners until Molly is satisfied with the agreement. So that's why the agreement's not been coming to the board anymore, because the commissioners are signing them. You don't need to sign it, you just need to approve the money. So anyway, Signal Construction, what is that? On the greenways, there's flashing beacons. Push a button and they flash, and they're $20,000 a piece.
Sometimes they get hit by cars.
Well, and we also have other types of beacons. Well, it has been the highway department. I guess it's a consensus. The Parks Department is in charge of all flashing beacons. Highway Department is not charged of fixing them, paying for them, or maintaining them. That will be the Parks Department. So on Woodyard Road on Cars Farm Greenway, we had a flashing beacon that was run over. Flat as a pancake. And I went to the commissioners and they knew we didn't have a contract, which you can't do any services without a contract, but they gave me special permission to move as fast as I could to get that beacon up for safety reasons. So now we're catching up with all the paperwork. Signal Construction, this last incident will cost us around $1,000, but we thought it wise to get an on-call agreement with Signal Construction because since they're $20,000 a piece, we don't know between now and December 31st, how many of them are going to get hit or have problems, and we want to be able to move as fast as we can and have an agreement in place. This company works with the highway department every day. They're wonderful people. I called them up and he says, I got my pickup, Kelly, I'll come and get it right now.
He did that day too, and these ballards are meant to be hit, and if they, I'm not meant to be hit, but if they do, they're meant to break away, so like it didn't bust up the post. It just broke the base at the bottom and some of the wires, so they actually had to come in and rewire some stuff.
And we also discovered, I believe, a safety feature that we might need a little retrofit on all of them. So when they get hit, the electricity gets shut off immediately. Right now, they might not operate exactly like that. So once this agreement gets on here, I'll probably give them a call to go to all of our beacons to make sure he can do the little safety little thing. So when they get hit, because everything gets hit,
In the middle of a dry September, we don't start a fire.
Right, so it's not to exceed 10,000. It expires December 31st, 2023. If everything goes well, we will only be spending $1,000 of this money. It'll come from the Greenway services line, unless I run out, which I probably will. I can always go to the council for additional appropriations if there is a slew of accidents.
Now, are these signals actually insured?
They are insured, but I believe it was $20,000 an occurrence or something. It's very high. And everyone in the courthouse
If they
knows
totally
about
wipe
this.
one out, and we have to replace it. That's insured.
I will call county legal. They'll look everything up and we'll see. Unfortunately, the person who hit this one, there is no police report either. So, because we were going to go back on their insurance, we can't find them.
How many beacons do we have?
Well, that is a good question. We are doing a count right now. I believe it's 1, 2, 3. Three on the
Six.
six.
There's,
Which
well, those aren't really, I wouldn't say beacons, but there's crossing guards.
that has a.
48 on 48 where it crosses there.
Yeah,
And then the new ones at down there at Woodyard, they got hit, and then the other ones at
Grandview,
yeah, right.
Grandview.
Uh,
Plus,
Plus the railroad crossing, so that's,
but is that a,
those aren't push buttons, but if somebody would hit that one at the road, so 6 to 8.
it depends how you look at it.
Yeah.
And also, Lisa Ridge,
Six that are like the push button, and then we got crossers for the railroad. So
And-
actually probably close.
and Lisa Ridge has been fortunate. She's been pushing to get more of these beacons, one at Church Lane, one at Dillman. She has hopefully found funding for that, so we'll be responsible for those. Most likely, the one that will get hit is on Woodyard
Yeah,
because of the location.
it's just that weird angle right there.
I mean, the other ones haven't got hit, nothing's happened to them, I can't tell you in a snowy day
And
that someone,
unfortunately, there's an awful lot of beer cans on the side of that road too.
Yeah, the road's straight there. I mean,
Well, I mean, it curves right where that Ballard is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it jogs. I mean, it's right in the middle of that jog, but that whole road is littered with beer cans on a regular basis.
so the highway commissioners and legal are all aware of this problem. So if we believe we need more money, I believe the county council will be there. This is a safety issue. So don't worry if they all get hit in one day, there's $100,000, but.
It's better than a pedestrian device.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yes. So the commissioners believe this is very important. They told me go fast as I could. So to get it fixed, get it up, they'll deal with contract later. So they are asking that the park board not to exceed 10,000. It expires 12/31/23. It will come out of Parks County General, non-reverting, worst case scenario. If we think we need more money, I'll go to the council. So, and yes, it's better than a person by far. So if you want to do one contract at a time, that's that one.
Let's go ahead.
Oh, okay.
This is real.
Oh, you want me to go? Okay.
Yeah.
Do all four, and unless we have a problem, we can
Oh, okay, excellent. Okay.
separate that out.
The Parks Department has bought 2 porta johns. One is at the Dillman Road at Sheriff's Substation. The other one is on the Cars Farm Greenway at the Loth Road Trailhead. We have that serviced once a week currently by A&A Quick Pump. I believe that we have a better vendor choice, which is Izzy's Rental for 2 reasons. One, Izzy's is a Monroe County vendor. A&A Quick Pump is not out of Monroe County. Izzy's matched the price of A&A Quick Pump. I've heard very nice, good things about them. In their contract, they will pump the poo, put the blue stuff back in, wipe it down, put toilet paper in, and put salt brine in it in the winter so it doesn't freeze. We believe that's wonderful service for $20 a pop.
I think they'll be a lot cleaner than with our current vendor too. I think they'll actually get.
And I put not to exceed 3,000 and their expiration be 4/1/24. And if for some reason we happen to have more toilets and we think we can always amend the contract, but this is plenty of money for this. And plus we can make adjustments. If we think, say a restroom at Loesch Road only needs pumped out once every couple weeks in the winter, we'll make that change, give them a call. They won't charge us, they won't come. So we have all the control.
For financial purposes, in our department, which will be Jamie, this Izzy's will actually send an invoice at the end of each month. We'll kind of know what's coming out instead of waiting to the end of the year and sending me four invoices that they laid out on the table and pictures of.
So they have QuickBooks invoices and they answer their telephone and my emails immediately.
Yes.
And they're the vendor for Bloomington Parks and Recreation.
That last point, that'd be a good one.
Well, no, because they actually clean out the restroom on Church Lane, you know where the Red Bridge is?
And explain.
Well, they do that, then they can just go down and get on.
Say that they have a maintained. For the Johns as well as ours are being maintained.
I might not be getting them checked as frequent.
I think that must be the problem.
And honestly, that trail is, that porta potty right there is just super busy. I mean, that parking lot gets used for everything.
So, I mean, we are very pleased with our Porta Johns and we understand they will be vandalized at some point in their life. We will just handle it when it happens, but I think people really appreciate it. It's bigger than a normal ADA. You can get your wheelchair in, you can get everything. There's grab bars. People really appreciate them.
So
Oh,
this
actually,
says that it expires 12/31/23,
correct.
but you said
Oh.
4/1/24.
Yes, I mistyped. Yeah, it is 4/1/20.
You can pull your whole bike in there, can't you?
You can, I haven't done that.
I knew it.
Or you can bring your dog with you. I mean, you don't have to like. what?
It literally took 4 of us to pick them up off the trailer.
And Joe, you'll love this. It's a national company out of Indiana.
Good.
Polly
Yeah.
John,
Yeah.
and they're great. They said we can replace every part that gets broken.
I never saw it. Kevin just mentioned, I've checked the one at Lowe's Road.
It's heat.
I'll make sure somebody's not living there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we had squirrels getting in it and so they were chewing on the toilet paper in there.
That's really out of the way.
It is.
Now, Andy has staff that sees these restrooms on a regular basis.
The deal, man, I mean, we've got
Plus, we
somebody
have
out there 3 to
there.
5 days a week and somebody goes down the Greenway 3 to 5. So
Yeah, and they will call us if there's a problem. So
so far though, we haven't had a single issue with them. Yeah,
these are less expensive than a very expensive restroom.
way less.
Okay.
Oh, next one, commercial service of Bloomington Inc. for plumbing and HVAC not to exceed 10,000, expires 12/31/23. We expect, if something catastrophic happens, at least we have $10,000, but Andy says that we do need a new water heater
Yeah.
at the caretaker's house, so that would go under this agreement. But in case something happened to a furnace, we have a big event coming at Commons in December and the furnace goes out. This way we have someone on call, they can come and take care of the problem. Plus, we don't want our pipes to freeze and things like that. So we thought this would be we worked with commercial service of Bloomington and you've been pleased with them.
Yeah, I mean, I use them at the park, I use them at my house, they're a good quality company.
Go Express Travel Service, this will be the second year that we've worked with this. It's recreation transportation, as in day camp. We no longer use rural transit because we cannot, because they have received a grant. The grant requires them not to let people like Parks and Recreation rent from them. So Go Express is our next best item, and if we do adult trips, we will also use Go Express. I think Beth's very pleased with them. I don't know if you want to say.
You said they're actually cheaper or at least equivalent thereof.
Very, very similar, it's very similar, and the buses are nice, the drivers are nice, they're actually transportation wise for the kids, school nicer than all the transit. So, yeah, it worked out well, this is the same amount we requested last year as well.
And it's not to exceed $6,000, expires 12/31/23. So those are those four. Yes.
I have no problem with any of these. I am just curious why, these are all being approved now with expiration dates of December 31st. One of them is a switch to a different company. The other ones are continuing with the companies that we have used. And shouldn't we be approving these in December, November, December for the coming year rather than March?
It's the fastest we can move. Molly has to,
Shouldn't we, but I mean, we may need services on an emergency basis for any of these before, mid-March.
oh yes, we will try our best to make sure we were under contract at all times. It's just that legal department's been a little behind
Okay,
and
well,
we're moving as fast as we physically can. And I understand.
right, well, once you get a contract with a
Once we
certain
get
vendor and you decide to stay with them, renewing it shouldn't take much time.
Well, you think.
So. I
I am moving as fast as anybody else. I think they think I run over people. I try not to. I understand, trust me. We have so many contracts now. We're trying to get them through legal, through the commissioners, through you. And our goal is always to be covered.
Would there be an advantage to spreading out the end dates? I mean,
Well,
if everybody in the county is trying to get contracts approved for December 31st.
well, not all the vendors, they don't know when the price is rise and they don't know if they always want to do business with us. And then, it's, trust me, if I can get a 2-year contract, I'll jump on it. If I can get a 3-year contract, I'll jump on it. But like Cassidy's and some other people, they're like,
So,
well, it's a rigor Cooper James. Sometimes they'll go a year, sometimes they'll go a year and a half. It's up to the vendors too.
I'm just thinking more in line of,
Oh, trust me, I try to go
yeah,
far.
if some of them are willing to say terminate on March 31st, that might help legal out. And you,
Yep.
but, I mean, they have the same issue with us, that they have to finish their books and close their accounts and whatever, so. But that might be worth checking with when we're starting to talk with some of these companies.
Oh, trust me. I'd say you want a 5-year one, you want to, I mean, I
But
try
I'm
everything.
thinking more than just 1 year, but not ending on December 31st.
I totally agree.
Which, it depends on how they do their books and whatever, but it might be possible to change some of them.
Well, the advantage of having them all at the same time is it's easier to incorporate them in our budget projections. I would imagine.
Trust me, I am with you.
Can you, in October, ask them to review contracts voted on here in December?
I can ask, I'll just say legal's been really, yes, I will, some of my contracts have been months. So trust me, I'll start this summer.
To Kevin's point, once it's established, should not take.
You would think.
Oh, okay, yeah, I guess I heard.
You would think.
All right, so do we need a motion for these 4?
Yes.
So I will make a motion that we approve the contracts with let's see, Commercial Services of Bloomington, HVAC and Plumbing, not to exceed $10,000. Go Express Transportation Services, not to exceed $6,000. Easy's Rental Porta Toilet, not to exceed $3,000. And On-Call Signal Construction, Signals on Greenways, not to exceed $10,000. All contracts to expire 12.
Well, Izzy's is longer. I got them a little longer.
Except for Izzy's, we'll go through 4/1/24.
There's a second. Motion and second to approve these contracts, the agreement approvals, these agreements, contracts. Any questions, comments now about any of them? Hearing none. Yeah, please.
Kevin,
Yes.
Carolyn,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Evelyn,
Yes.
Bill,
The gate.
and Carol.
Yes. Motion passes. Moving on to item C under new business.
It's me.
Is this, starting on page 17? Improvement projects.
I handed out a updated one. So page 17 is outdated already.
All right, this is the page that's outdated.
Okay, and let me tell you Molly's concerns. And maybe Kevin will have a comment on this. I believe that Molly and I need to come to an agreement that these are 3 separate and independent contracts. Because if you put them together, they go over $50,000, which in Indiana code, you have to go out to bid as a package. So what I'm suggesting, and maybe Kevin, I don't know what you think, is that we could agree to not to exceed for each of 3 of these. And let's see if Molly decides if we need to bid it out and start all over again, or she's satisfied that she can bring contracts to the commissioners that the Indiana code that we're okay.
Well, I think it's relevant to that determination. We have set these up for separate proposals or bids. Which would allow for any of the companies that we've invited to present proposals from to be awarded those bids, and there's no requirement they all go to one company or whatever. And so I think you can break them up if that's the case. If you're breaking up a project that doesn't make any sense, if it's not done by one company, if it just wouldn't work, then I don't think you can do that. But these are independent in that it doesn't need to be done by the same company.
And she's digesting where I told her that these are 3 separate, I mean, they're independent of each other.
Two of them
One
are
doesn't-
completely different
well,
buildings.
yeah.
Certainly the caretaker's house should be separate.
Yeah. it's completely
One doesn't rely on the other, and plus, when we got estimates, we started even 3 years ago on these projects, so I just have to, she just needs to digest it a little more. But I think if you want to do, not to exceed on each one of these, and then we can bring it to Molly, and then she can either make a determination of, yes, we can go forward to the commissioners, or no, let's take it back to the park board. But I believe they are 3 independent, totally different projects. The caretaker's house, we've been working on for 3 years.
They've all got
The-
different estimators from.
Yeah, and the garage door incident at Cars Farm Park Maintenance Building, this occurred a couple months ago. The water leak in the maintenance building had been occurring over the years, but we got estimators in there last fall, and we had them up. So we've been different years, different estimators, different vendors. Now, the problem that we also are having is we have been pleading with Kuntz and B&L to give us quotes. And the reason why those 2 were also chosen is because they actually showed up to Cars Farm Park last year and gave quotes on similar projects, or if not identical projects. But for some reason, they
It's like pulling teeth.
won't.
No matter how many times I call and how many times they tell me in 2 days, I'll get you your quote. It doesn't happen. Or in 2 days, you get a phone call and I'll schedule an appointment to come out and re-quote everything. Nothing happens. It's just one.
And instead of telling us, we don't want your job, they just keep saying, sure, we'll call you, sure, we'll come out, sure, we'll make an appointment. And it hasn't been occurring. So I don't know if the board wants us to try to find other vendors. And I know Andy tried during the Commons retrofit. You called, I don't know how many vendors, and
7 or 8.
7 or 8, and they all declined to work with us. Only
They were the only 3 that we could get to come and do it then, and now the
yeah.
only people I can get quotes back.
So graders are the only ones who would show up they've showed up multiple times. We brought them out to the park multiple times to update quotes and bids.
There are a number of exceptions to the requirement for bids based on considerations such as one vendor is the only one qualified to do the work. In this case, Graver built some of those buildings.
You know,
That may be fit that exception. There are exceptions based on whether you don't get bids from other vendors, of course, this hasn't been put up in the bid yet, apparently. So
Well, because if it's under $50,000, we can ask for quotes.
I guess what I'm saying is, I think the legal department ought to be given time to look at this and see if there
Yes.
are exceptions that would allow us to proceed. But I think what we should do is not to use a not to exceed figure, but make a contingent approval to award these projects separately to the best submitted quote and identify that and approve that subject to legal department approval.
And we can, if you want to talk about the very first project is the maintenance building to replace the heated side commercial garage door, install a hoist
Voice change.
hoist
and
chain
automatic.
automatic opener. This door, what did I put it, circa 1998, it's been hit a few times. And the last
Slammed the
time,
ground a couple times.
last time it had a little accident was about a month ago. And right now it's operational, but when it's not working properly, the park staff has to get a skid steer with forks to lift it and to hold it and to bring our equipment in where our professional lift is. This is not a safe activity.
This, the same garage door 3 or 4 winters ago when we were plowing snow at like 3 in the morning got stuck open. And so we literally just had to cut the cables and let it slam to the ground to get it fixed. So it's just been, it's been one thing after another and it's held together with a prayer and a paper
And
clip right
that
now.
could be an emergency.
Yeah, it's,
So we brought out overhead door and we brought out gravers. We didn't bring anybody else out because this is a powerful garage door. We don't want honestly, a fly by the night person to come out and to do this. The overhead people are more money and I don't even know how to say this. You don't have a lot of confidence in this skill level.
so,
Well, I have-
most of the people they've had come out to look at our doors are not what I would call the most skilled.
One other thought
Yeah.
about these is that if the legal department does believe there is a problem with doing all 3 of these to one vendor, because that one vendor happens to have submitted the best price for each of these projects, we could have 2 of them done now and wait and rebid them or requote them and see what happens. And then proceed there.
That'd be better.
Well, I was going to point out, it does seem to make sense that there are 2 contracts here, if not 3. Which get under the 50,000.
Right, and
But yeah, to me, the maintenance building issues and the caretaker's house are 2 separate, completely separate projects.
I think so too, but
I can't see why
I don't want
it wouldn't be.
this board or myself to say, you know, that's absolutely our position. But I think we can approve this subject to review by county attorneys and go forward with it if they are comfortable with it. If not,
We'll come back.
we well go with 2 of them maybe. And we approve all 3 and they have the ability to hold it up.
Yes, I
They can
agree.
hold up just one of them.
So I think if you do that, then Molly has what she needs, because she won't bring anything before the commissioners until they're satisfied.
On the door thing,
Yeah.
so will Graver do the electrical work?
Well, we may not need, we don't know. It depends.
It depends where they're hooking it up at. We've got electric
Sorry.
right there in that area and we might be able to just do it with an extension cord. Or we might just have to have Cassidy come in and do it, but either way, we'd be able to plug in an extension cord until Cassidy came to do it, and I can't imagine that'd be inexpensive.
Because you know, overhead
We don't.
specifically says.
Can't imagine it'd be more than $1,000 by.
Yeah, it doesn't include electrical. I mean, no one's doing any electrical.
No, they don't.
Cassidy would be the only one who would do electrical, but we don't know if we need it. And if Cassidy has been extremely fair, they're under on call and this wouldn't, this would be a half-hour job.
But we're basically looking at companies doing the same
Yes,
work.
yes.
On page 19, with Graver's quote, I don't see, and maybe I just need to read it more carefully, that they remove the old door, because overhead makes a point.
Yeah, so Graver, Graber's software that they use to make their estimates, their quotes is kind of a funky thing, and they just actually got a new software to do it, so they have a hard time. It's a bunch of drop-down menus. So like adding different stuff like that is really hard for them to do in their software. But that was something, and I believe there it is. Overhead door service fee, tear out existing door, install new door. So it is,
This They remove.
yeah, it does.
Well,
Tear out existing door.
Tear out.
Tear out.
Well,
That's
I
their
think
word.
what Evelyn's referring to is removed from the property.
That's exactly.
Oh,
what I'm talking about.
no, we're gonna scrap it, I think.
Because that's what you're being charged for in overhead quotes is removing, hauling away the existing door, which is resulting in 10,600 quote. Over here under Graber, it doesn't talk about hauling away scrap. So,
All right.
wow, that's where it is.
Yeah, however. all the
Apples
way
without a
doors.
Yeah, I can't imagine that's gonna be a huge,
Just like.
yeah. Honestly, I'd rather throw it in the scrap pile and take it to John Fox.
Yeah, no, it's steel.
Well, that building, it was built
By Graber.
by Graber.
Yeah,
It kind of makes sense to.
that's what I thought too, so. And they really did a great job with the garage doors on the extension when they came and put those in. I mean, those are great and literally any of their guys, even the young ones, this overhead door, I've been pleased with any of the times they've ever been out, so.
Kevin, I like Kevin's idea. I mean, I'd go for approving all three and
That really helped us out.
I'd go to, they can all see how they want to write it up. If we need to rebuild or what.
Just maybe it makes it easier, maybe it doesn't, but I would actually suggest we do three separate motions. And handle as individual projects at this legal department decides to do.
Yeah.
Okay, and that was the other thing. So a couple of these,
Well, I have it right on your new sheet.
yeah,
I put you not to exceed amounts on 1, 2, and 3. We added a little bit to each of the graders because we have damage and we don't know what's underneath the damage. If everything's perfect,
Okay,
those are the amounts, but if we have wiggle room, we don't want them to be there and say, oh my, look at that water problem. We want them to be able to fix it while they're on the roof right there, so. This gives us wiggle room.
they added for the, like in the quotes themselves, yeah, they put
Well,
like
I-
Berlin repair and put a little bit extra for that and a couple of them,
So
so.
essentially for the first one, the garage door, instead of the 6317, you're asking for 7,200.
Yeah, and the only thing that we're worried about there is there's a little bit of trim metal on the outside, and I don't know real well what all these terms are. So I'm not sure if that's something that they were replacing when they brought in the new door, but if it's not, while they're there, we're gonna have them put a couple new pieces of trim out there, just so they don't look like they've been running.
So the motion then, if the board agrees with the cushion, should not use the numbers that are highlighted in yellow, correct? But use the ones that are not highlighted in yellow.
well, I have a problem with that because we're supposed to be accepting quotes. And
Well, but
when the numbers you come up with is not what was quoted.
Well, here's the thing. We know we have water damage. We
Okay,
don't know what's below it.
So they can't quote you on based on.
On
they don't
something
know.
they can't see.
okay.
And we've done it a couple other times in here before with a couple other.
Yeah, Margie always suggested, put a little cushion in case you have an emergency. If not, you gotta pull the people off the job, start over.
I guess what I'd be more comfortable with is accepting the quote by the amount or at least by the date the quote was received. And saying that subject to a final price not to exceed. But I want to accept their quote
Oh, okay.
and then impose that as a condition. Rather than just come up with another number and replace their quote with another number.
Well, and we've been doing that with the commissioners. We've been always putting a cushion in.
But for our motion.
Oh, your motion, yes, that's fine.
And in case in point, what this is for, like, so when we redid the siding on the commons, they tried to put all that metal up there, but with that T111 panel, they couldn't get their screws to hit anywhere, so they had to come in and put 1x3 purlins all over the outside of it. And when they do the house, I mean, I'm almost positive they're gonna have to do that too,
Something's
but that
going
was
wrong.
something that just could be a little bit extra. They were gonna see what happened, but
You know, I'm worried about the water damage at the maintenance.
the maintenance building, and you can see some of it from the inside and tell where some of it is, but there's
Concerns on all
Yes, so that's.
Yeah.
We understand the issue.
Okay. Let me throw something out. Does it need to be approve or accept? I'd rather use the word accept. The bid, if that's,
I don't know, Molly's never said. I,
approval eventually will come from the commission, from the commissioner. And it will be of a contract. We don't have a contract. All we have is a dollar amount. And
I guess in my agenda request with commissioners, I always said on so-and-so date, the park board approved,
Okay.
to exceed this amount.
okay. Then we'll-
And they seem happy with that.
All right, and one other question before I go through the three of them. Maintenance at the 2-3 building, what is
Oh,
that?
it's the 2/3 of the building that are gonna get a new roof. Not
the
the new.
extension's the other third, and then
Yeah.
that's the original 2/3 of the building. We got 3 different roof pitches, and that's what that's based off of.
Building or same building?
It's the same
Same
building,
building.
it's just,
Not the whole building.
and that's just 2/3 of it,
If you ever,
like the original.
Placing 2/3 of the roof, I guess.
Yeah.
Replace the roof and gutters on the original building should cover that,
yeah, it's,
something like that.
Okay,
if you look at it, it's like, oh my, oh my, oh my.
It's tall and full ends and short and center.
okay, I'm gonna try this, please.
Okay,
Okay, I make the motion that we approve
yes.
a quote that we received from Braver Post Buildings for replacing heated side garage door, installing hoist chain and automatic opener for our maintenance building at Cars Farm Park. That was quoted at $6,317.84 on February 27th of 2023. To be completed at a price not to exceed $72,000.
$7,200.
$7,200, excuse me.
I think it's 17.
Yeah, that would be
Nice. Okay, nice, bro. Yeah, we're- Well, we're gonna have all sorts of stuff on the thumb and everything. That's gonna be nice.
Perfect, Kevin.
Yes.
I say,
And basically the same wording, just the different numbers and two, I guess.
So, yes, essentially, as you quoted off the sheet, so
That's what
Make
I
your
was
job a
going
lot
by.
easier.
Yes, it did.
any,
I go, oh, good, he's reading.
yes, exactly. Any further comment about the first one? You ready?
Yes.
Cool, okay.
Okay. Kevin,
Yes.
Carolyn,
Yes.
Joe,
yes,
Evelyn,
Yes,
and Phil.
Yes.
motion passes.
next motion, Kevin.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
I think I can do the same better. I move that we approve a quote received from Braver Post Buildings to replace the roof and gutters, add snow guards, and repair purlin for our maintenance building at Cars Farm Park. The quote in the amount of $27,031.29 submitted March 3rd, 2023 to be completed for an amount not to exceed $29,500.
Any comment? Call the roll.
All right. Kevin,
Yes.
Carolyn,
Yes.
Joe,
Yeah.
Evelyn,
Yes,
and Phil.
Yes,
motion passes. Thank you.
I move that we approve a quote received from Greater Post Buildings for replacement of siding, roof, gutters, and soffit, and removal of roof pipe, and if needed, additional wood pieces at the caretaker's house at Cars Farm Park. The submitted quote in the amount of $28,012.75. Submitted on March 3rd of 2023. To be completed in an amount not to exceed $30,500.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Oh, let's call the roll.
Okay. Bill,
yeah,
Kevin,
Yes.
Carolyn,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
and Evelyn.
Yes, motion passes. Good job.
Perfect. Well done.
Thank you.
And we'll give it to Molly. So give her magic.
See what Molly says.
Yeah, she's working hard. She's working really hard.
Moving on to financial reports, we only have a couple of opportunities, Kay, to ask you, anything we should know about financial reports? You know.
Yeah, everything is looking good. We balanced to the penny. We
Oh, I just.
are checking into maybe getting a little bit different way that we are receiving our bank statements and things. There's been a little bit of confusion with all of the county departments that bank with First Financial, because we all share the same EIN. So if someone goes into their bank account and makes a little change, it changes everybody. So it's some of them have already moved over, so we're gonna be moving over to it's called First Navigator. I think it's Kelly Way, but I call it First Navigator. And that's supposed to take care of all those problems, so that each one of us, when we make a change, an address change or a phone number or an email change, it doesn't automatically change everyone else. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I received everyone's Visa statement for the last month, so I had to distribute them all. So anyway, but that's gonna take care of that. So that was the only thing I think that. Bring to your attention. Other than that, we're getting lots of shelter reservations coming in, program registration. John's doing the Easter egg hunt. He'll probably tell you about in a minute. Don't know. but, yeah, that's all I have to say.
Moving on to, excuse me. Page here, reports on pages 38, 39, and 40. Which I always read, they're always interesting, I think. Any comments? I know you want to say something.
Explain the extravaganza. Extravaganza.
It's just a huge April Fool's joke, really, that's all it is.
No, I'll be interested to see how that goes. So we actually. I will, and part of me doesn't, but we picked this event for better or for worse to start Facebook advertising, which is something that we've not done in the past. Almost immediately, that event in particular blew up on Facebook, and we've had quite a bit of feedback. It's just one of those things where, you know, for every 1,000 people that are interested in going, you might get 10 that actually show up. So egg hunts are pretty popular around the area that day. I didn't see any others going on. So
Yeah, the city used to do one, but they haven't done it since COVID, so.
yeah,
They did a huge one going on at the fair this year.
yeah, so there are some other big ones. And I think it'll be popular, but you know, being at Detmer Park, it'll be interesting to see logistically parking and
Yeah.
just how everything goes, but Hopefully it's a good turnout.
I think we probably will.
Well, I'm looking forward already.
You mean you're going? And I will say, yeah, for anybody that does go, Jamie is being dressed as the Easter Bunny.
In that old costume that we had for
No.
decades. Oh, good lord, I was gonna say that's an old smelly dusty thing. I can't imagine.
That'll be at the next board meeting, the credit card
Description.
description.
Job description.
Other duties as.
Any other comments about recreational programming? We've heard a bit also about park maintenance. Anything else that's not on this list that we need to know?
It's getting ready to be in full swing. Monday and Tuesday, we get all our seasonals for the rest of them back. Tuesday, Jeff Sanders is coming back to be a seasonal for us this summer. Tired of being a stay-at-home dad. He can't handle it no more. He said, I'm old and fat and I need to get out and exercise, so I'm coming to work 4 days a week.
So we will have, not only with Andy, Don Anderson was a former park superintendent.
Yep.
He's been working for us, and Jeff Sanders, another former park superintendent. So I don't know if that says good things about Andy.
Trying to get Dave Bell back again too, but I'm having a hard time.
So we, it's really nice that we do have seasonal staff that would like to work more.
And a full staff of seasonals for the first time in probably like 5 years, which will be really strange, but nice.
But nice.
Yeah, so soccer started actually Sunday. Monday was like the first real day. They just come out there Sunday too, so we're getting ready to be full
And you know,
swing.
we're headed for a lot of rain.
Oh, I know. They was closed today, the fields were still to see.
Okay, all right, we'll see.
I hope for the rest of the week or beginning of next.
And the last thing I wanted to bring to your attention was last but definitely not least. Congratulations.
No idea. It's either.
I thought they did this months ago, It just arrived in our box, and so I'm like, oh, they did this months ago. Here it is.
I'm happy to welcome Bill John as you're known here.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
okay, I was just thinking.
Yeah, it's Bill.
Welcome you back for another 4 years.
Yeah.
Your pithy remarks. Is there anything else for the good of the?
I actually have a question on page 16.
16.
Yeah, the rules thing.
Yep.
Under this shelter and splash pad rentals where it says you may reschedule 2 weeks prior to the rental date. I'm presuming that actually means up to 2 weeks.
Where are you, Carol?
Page 16,
Yeah, where?
under shelter and splash pad rental. Number 2 says you may reschedule 2 weeks prior to rental date for a $10 fee. The way that's written is exactly 2 weeks before your rental date, you can change it. So it should say up to, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let me
Just
just
go
go
to
to
that.
that. 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Right. Okay,
Yeah, so it should be, you may reschedule up to 2 weeks prior to the rental date. After that, you're stuck. Unless, of course, you have a winter related.
is that?
Okay, so you're saying the way it reads now, it means they can wait a day ahead if they want to.
No, the way it's written right now, it says on exactly 2 weeks prior to your rental date, you can change it. Other than that, you're out of luck.
What she said is the intent.
Okay, so just put in,
About 2.
okay,
After 2 weeks prior to your rental date, you're stuck unless you can arrange for lightning bolts.
okay. All right. I'll let Jamie know.
Poor Jamie, I get the drafted minutes and I pick them over for English and grammar issues and then gets here and Carolyn finds these obscure comments.
Sorry, I live with you.
Well, it's in the blood, so feeling sorry for her already. Anything else that's good for the organization?
Because
We have a guy job today.
Well, now that means it's grabbing off all their pet. Dogs, cats. That helps. Not kind of pleased with that at all.
It's so pleased with that.